Welcome to the Shutter Saga Podcast. I'm your host, Marvin Blue. Join me each week as we dive into amazing conversations with some of our industry's top leaders. We will talk about photography, business, and most of all, share the stories that have laid the foundation to our journey in this world we call photography. A couple of ways to support the show is to like, subscribe, and share the show with others. Leave those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and if you're a fan of seeing us live, we are on YouTube. Also, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Again, thanks for tuning in and enjoy the show. Welcome one, welcome all. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in to another wonderful episode of the Shutter Saga Podcast. I'm your host, Marvin Blue. This episode, let me go ahead and just lead you into it. If you're going to listen to this episode or if you're going to watch this episode on YouTube, I suggest that you wear a blazer because we have the incomparable, the classy, the just amazing friend, instructor, photographer, man with a heart of gold, the bad boy from the City of Angels, coming to us from one of my favorite places in the world, Newport Beach. We got Ning Wong, or to the people of the streets, we know him as Mr. All Night Wong. Ning, what's up, man?
Man, you're coming on the road with me, doing all my intros from now on.
Yes, I will be your herald. Yes, when you teach from now on, I'm going to give you all these crazy intros.
Oh man, it's an awesome welcome, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Man, it's a pleasure. I've been wanting on you here for a long time. You know, long time friend. Just amazing photographer. So it's great to have you on the show. I'm glad you could squeeze us in your busy schedule.
Thanks. No, anything for you, Marvin. You've always been a great dude, solid guy, super talented, but just overall awesome person. So anything to do for you, you let me know.
Appreciate it. So, Ning, do you recount back to when we first met? You know, because a lot of people, because you're one of my longest running friends in this industry.
Was it Shutterfest?
It was Shutterfest, yep. And I remember.
How many years is that?
God, I think because I remember you were one of the people I first slumber fested. It was at the before we even had Shutterfest Extreme or Shutterfest Plus. It was like that closing out last day, and they had one of those platform speakers. And I think you just in the back, you just dozed off, and I was like, "Oh, this is."
It was concentration. I wanted to get everything in my brain.
I think it was the one where I remember when she was giving like some terrible advice, and I think everybody like simultaneously was messaging Sal like, "What the hell is this girl?" Because she literally was like saying everything opposite to what Sal was teaching, and she was the platform speaker. And I just can't remember her name, but I just remember you were sleeping. I remember Melanie Anderson like in the back losing her shit, like messaging Sal, and Sal was like rubbing his head like, "Oh fuck, what did she just say? Did she just say that?" Like he had that look in his face like, "Oh crap, she just said that," and then she doubled down. And I just remember it's like him, John Tilley, a couple other people were like, "Did she really just say that? Oh crap, this is gonna go over."
Man.
Well,
I was sleeping, so I didn't hear anything.
Exactly. So you missed all the fun.
Exactly.
But now one of the coolest memories I have of you was you landed at Shutterfest, got a call, your wife went into labor, and you grabbed the bike and went right back and was gone. It was like, I thought Ning was showing up and say, "Yeah, his wife went into labor."
Well, my son, so 2019. We go to the doctor before Shutterfest to get the clearance for me to go, and there's 2 or 3 weeks left before the due date, and I literally flew in on Sunday, ate my White Castle, watched Game of Thrones, got a call like 2 or 3 in the morning. My wife said my water broke, and I just messaged Sal and Alyssa saying, "I gotta go," and I took 8 o'clock airplane flight back home. I made it back in time to see, the birth of my son, and then Sal and Alyssa were cool, and I remember emailing or texting Alyssa like, "Hey, can I apply for next year? Is that cool still?" And they're like, "Of course." And it's
As I think you're the only one that could ever bail and have a good enough excuse. Like, yeah, so my wife went into labor, and I was just like, I could just only imagine those handful of people going, "So he's not gonna show?" Like, no, dude, he's not coming. He just had a kid.
Well, to be fair, the beginning of the baby stuff, I don't really do anything, so I could have came back. Even my wife was like, "Hey, you should have gone back." I'm like, "Well, I could have. That would be kind of a dick move." So it's all good.
Yeah, no, it's like I gotta live with you forever,
Yeah, well, my buddy still stole my big poster from me though, so I still have that in the garage.
Yep. But no, I thought that was awesome. I was like, yeah, it just shows what kind of guy he is. It's like obviously we love photography, we love running businesses and chasing this success that we've been chasing. But I mean, when it comes down to it, to brass tacks, it was all about the family. I've always
Yeah.
seen how your willingness to go above and beyond to put a smile on your daughter's face is she at the age now where she's like, I hate you yet, Dad, or you got a couple more years
No, no,
before?
she's great. She's 10
Okay.
now. My son is now 5, right? And like still the hero. I'll milk it as long as I can. Um, it's the best feeling in the world. I mean, Marvin, you're a
Yeah.
parent too, so you know it's the best and worst thing. You got big kids too, so like
Yeah.
it's different for you, but I'm still awesome, so I will keep that going as long as I can.
It's crazy because I remember Jaden being is it Rohan or Rowan? I always
Rohan,
mess it up.
yeah.
Rohan. I remember Jaden being Rohan's age, and now tomorrow, if by the time the people listen to it's gonna already happen, but tomorrow's Jaden's senior prom for high school.
Oh man.
So like you want to talk about like that hitting you. It's like these next few weeks have really been hitting me a lot more because I mean obviously anybody's been paying attention. I've been bringing her to all the shoots and letting her see this world that Daddy lived in to provide for her. So she's now finally getting to see it. So all her life she never saw all the behind the scenes, all the photography stuff, and now she's just like now she sees where it comes from.
Well,
And
I've seen her at the shows this year, right, with you,
yeah,
and like
yeah,
honestly, man, the way that she looks and acts around you, she's proud of you. She's proud of
yeah.
like seeing her dad do all these amazing things, and like I hope I can do that for my kids, and you're doing a great job, and like you
Oh,
just
appreciate it.
it's great.
It's surreal now that they're older. Like I mean, because the early days we were traveling doing this. Now it's like I just want to be home, spend as much time with her before she really starts to hate my guts. But it's been a fun year so far. Just seeing her finish off this last year of high school. Now she's going on to her next steps, and just like did I do enough? Like I question. Obviously, as a dad, I'm questioning everything now. Like now it's that test of did you do all the things you were supposed to do for your kid to make sure they're not complete utter screw ups.
No, man, I think you're doing a great job, and like you look still too young to have a kid that old, and like I'm sure
I'm
when
aging gracefully. At least I hope so.
no, you look good, man. You look at this hair, right? But like
Oh man,
you, honestly, man, like you're doing a great job. Your relationship with her is so special, and like I said, she's just so well behaved. She's proud of you. She just like the way she sees you. I remember observing it and stuff. So keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing a great job.
I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. All right, enough mushy stuff about the kids.
All
Let's talk about us now, the people of the show,
right,
the Blazer twins
all
of
right. Here we go. Here we
this
go.
afternoon. Now, so how long have you now been in as a photographer? Because you do photography and videography, but how long did it start with photography first, then video, or did you do video then crossover?
Yeah, so I started in August 2010. It wasn't honestly this wasn't as photographer, right? As a wedding photographer. This never was a dream of mine. It wasn't like as a kid I wish I was a photographer. This was like not on the radar career wise. Um, yeah, but I started 2010 in August, and I was tired of people asking, "Hey, do you guys do video too?" Because I'd lose those referrals for weddings and stuff. And so around 2012, I was learning video. We started offering wedding video, and now we still do weddings. We still do like a good handful a year, like a dozen. Back in the day, it was like 40 to 60 weddings a year. But we do a lot of commercial, corporate event work and stuff. And I like being home on the weekends. I like doing t-ball with my kids, taking my daughter to karate, hearing the piano play for piano practice, and just like doing these things. That's why I kind of transitioned over. But I still love the wedding world. Wedding world is some of the most special, fun parts of my career that I could, ever be part of.
Absolutely, it's kind of similar to me. I start out wedding photography and then losing gigs, you're losing weddings because they like, do you do video? And then they get another company that does photo and video.
Yeah.
So then, like you added video. It's been fun. It was a fun creative challenge, and growing from there, it definitely showed me where I was at gear wise. Because I remember when I first broke into, I was like, oh, I don't have the gear adequate enough to create that high level that I'm looking for. So then it was like, oh, I got to go to the drawing board and see what was a good fit. And, again, had to do another brand change during that process, but it was, it's already paid for itself. So I'm not mad about it, but
Yeah,
yeah. And
exactly.
you're a Canon man, correct?
Canon all the way. I'm a Canon instructor.
Yeah.
Been Canon my whole life, but make the best cameras in the business.
Nice. So what's been your favorite part so far in your journey as, with your growth of photography?
Like the favorite part of my journey is just the connections you make with people, right? Like meeting you at Slumberfest or Shutterfest. Um, just going to the events and just seeing your friends. Like honestly, I see you at conventions. Like, you're not close to me geographically, so we can't just go hang out. I'm sure we would if we were close by, but like just seeing friends and it doesn't feel like time has passed. Um make connections with people, like genuine real connections, not just like what can you do for me kind of thing, because that's not a real
Yeah.
connection. And going to education and seeing people's like minds just kind of like just click and like they just get it. Like a quick story is I was a WPI one year and this couple runs up to me and they're like, Ning, 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 how are you? I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna lie, I teach a lot of classes. I don't remember everybody's names. So I said, hey, remind you who you guys are again. And they told me, and they said, we took your off-camera flash photo walk last year and you changed our lives. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, um, they said, we took what you taught us, that 1.5 hour class, we took it back to where we live and we started doing OCF stuff back home, and no one else does that, and we were being booked like crazy. We made a lot of money, and all thanks to your course. And I didn't know this because I just see them during the
Hmm.
conferences. And so first thing I asked was I asked for a royalty check, right? No, I didn't do that. But I was like just so happy to hear that, because like a thing that I did for less than 2 hours changed their whole career, their whole financial situation, and like stuff like that. And like there's these stories that you're doing education too, Marvin. Like things that you say people will take and learn and apply to their business, and you don't know where it's going to go. And like that's the stories that I love to hear and the connections that you make.
Nice. Is that kind of what tailored you into the education space as well? Was just the seeing the growth of photographers?
Yeah, like I love education because it's a way to give back. Like when I started 2010, there wasn't like this Facebook community. There weren't like a lot of YouTube tutorials that were like so extensive and like not like nowadays. And we really had to learn on our own and like figure things out and like get together with the little community and teach each other, take workshops, invest in classes and stuff. And I always am thankful to all the people who taught me. And so when I do education now, I try and give as everything that I can. Like I have no secrets. I will tell you everything you guys want to know. I'm available, accessibility wise. Like, you've hit me up in the past too, back when you were like asking questions and stuff too. And like I love that feeling of just helping others and seeing them grow and evolve.
Okay, looking back at the early time of when you started, who was the early influences on your career?
So Pi Jersa, they do
Okay.
Lit in Jersa, SLR Lounge. Huge influence. He's here in my area. Just the way that not only the Pi's a close friend of mine too now. Like we've grown to be close friends, but like when I first started, I looked up to Lit in Jersa because they still are like the number one wedding studio here in our area. Um, but they're just really good people, and he puts out so much education. If you're a photographer, you probably heard of SLR Lounge. You probably know who Pi is. Um, but the way he teaches, and when I first started teaching too, I called him up and said, "Pi, can you give me some advice?" And he just gave me all these nuggets of gold. Um, and I still up to him all nowadays too, and like, but he was a huge influence of how I did things because he did things right. He did things correctly. He did things the ethical way, and like um that's something that I want to follow, in my footsteps or in his footsteps.
Nice. Yeah. I tell people all the time, especially like newbies, like when they go over and they say, "Hey, I'm interested. What class should I take at Shutterfest?" And I use Shutterfest as an example because obviously it's where we see each other the most.
Yep.
But and I'll say something like, "What is it you're trying to learn?" And they start giving me like their topics, what they want to get better at. And I always say, "All right, here's the thing. If you take Ning's class, you're gonna learn a lot in this class. But I said if you see him outside of class, you're gonna learn even more because you're a part of that small group of people that's classically known as the after hour instructor where you know whether it's over a drink or a cigar, but so I mean, but it just goes back to like kind of your giving personality, who you are as a person, you're not one of the people. And like I said, when you talk about doing it right, you never looked at us as students as, you know, invoice number such and such, how much money can you get off of that person, this person who's going to buy your 3-part master class. Like, it was just one of those, I think, and that's the same approach I have with the teaching as well, as kind of following in your footsteps, where it's, can I give everything that I can to that person, not gatekeep any information? And then, down the road, can they say they got better because of me? And if I had a hand in their upcoming, in the industry. And that's, to me, I think is very important. And in some cases, it's becoming a lost art on some of the people that are making a career of just being instructors,
Yeah, I think people can see through that, right? Like, not knocking on instructors, but a lot of instructors sell courses afterwards, or like they sell additional things, and that's great. That's how it should be. But like when you're teaching a class, you shouldn't like dangle that carrot saying, if you want to learn more, sign up for my bigger class. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
hey, this is the class, you're gonna learn it. And there's other classes that I do, there are other subjects and stuff. Um, and I've never, like, I don't sell courses, I don't sell stuff, like, you know so when you come to my classes, I give 1,000%. And like you said, like, after hours, I'm happy to hang out. I like being with people. And you guys, we're all peers, we're not, no one's special versus the other. We all, we all just click a button basically making a living. um and no one's better than anybody else. We all gonna get a piece of the pie, and like, provide for our families or for ourselves.
Nice. So what's looking at today's landscape of things, what's keeping you motivated today?
um you know what's keeping me motivated today is, other than obvious, like, family, because a lot of everyone's gonna say that, right? You want to provide for your family. um it's technology, like all the AI, people are embracing it and not embracing it. I think it's great. Like, I have electrical engineering background, I have a nerdy tech background, and so like AI, if used right, can be a really powerful tool. It can also be a tool for being lazy. Um, but there's so many great pieces of software out there, and then hopefully they'll start integrating to hardware and stuff like that. I'm really excited to see what happens. Like, 10 years from now, what cameras are going to be like? We'll be like, oh, back in our day, we had to actually like press focus and do this, and you know, who knows what's going to happen in 10 years? But technology is always evolving, and I like seeing new things come out.
Nice. I feel like I'm in that perfect little thing where I get to talk about the different journey of the industry, where it's like, I started out as a film student, and then we got into DSLRs, and that is the game changer. And then now everyone's like, oh, when they hold DSLRs, they feel like they're old now because they're like, everyone's mirrorless now. And now
Yep.
mirrorless, we're choosing these mirrorlesses, and now everyone's like, oh, it's all about the AI and this and that, and I can take pictures without a camera now. It's like, so
Yeah.
I'm like on, or the, waiting for the, like, the new implant on glasses, where it's like, now your glasses are your camera, and you don't even hold a camera anymore, or something like that.
Yeah. I think like the world's going to evolve, right? Like,
Mhm.
back in the day, the film people were like, oh, digital never take off. And look, obviously, what happened, right? So, like, um, if you don't evolve with the world and technology, you're going to stay in the past. And like, that's fine. There's a niche for that stuff. But, evolving is the future. Like, when I say AI, I don't mean like all the photography AI. I'm not a fan of that at all. I'm a fan of like using software tools to help with your processes faster. But um, you gotta move along with the market, or you're gonna stay behind. And that's just how life is.
Absolutely, no, I agree. Evolve or die. Like, I just think about this is how dated I'm about to sound. Doing the physical contracts, and then having them write me a check, and then taking cashing set check. Like, I was like dating myself that old, where I was doing the handwritten contracts or it was already pre-printed out, and I just write everything in them by hand, all their information, and then they pay their deposit, because we didn't say retainers back then. Their deposit with a physical check. Now it's like, oh my gosh. Now I'm doing everything. I've had people tap the phones now. Now they're paying for their weddings, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
you make it easier for them to give you money, right?
Exactly. Oh,
So,
absolutely.
but what? I love checks, so there's no service fee involved.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I like checks
Because I
too.
had I got to increase my prices just because of these service fees now. It's like,
Exactly.
damn it, Square.
I know.
Square and Stripe raping me 3%.
I know, it's killing us.
Nice. So, in talking about growth and everything, and you talked about your early who influenced you early on, and then what's motivating you now. What are some of the things that you're seeing now, with your work or with the others around you, that you think is kind of accelerating the industry?
Like some of the things that kind of accelerating the industry. Video obviously is taking a bigger market share in terms of
Mm,
content creation and stuff. Social media is huge, right? So like if you have a decent platform on social media, you can make a lot of money, right? Doing that kind of stuff. Um, but all it comes down to video creation because content that makes money are videos, and so a lot of people are getting into video, and like how it is, like when you go shoot an event or a wedding and it's photo, you have like a camera bag, maybe two cameras and some lights, and you're good. When it comes to video, you got audio, you got lighting, you got
mhm.
tripods, monopods, gimbals, you have like drones and like all these things, and like it just takes some more complication and stuff. But um I think in the editing too, like when you're editing content. So I think that's really taken off. That's what I like to look at is how people edit, how they shoot, how they convey content wise that captures attention out to your audience.
Nice, nice. And let me ask you something. So, we talk about with how mainstream social media is and prevalent to what we do now with marketing, especially. Um, Being a husband and a father, how do you manage all that? Plus, like, I mean, because really, I guess what I want to talk about is like the balance. How are you able to balance it all? Because you have two younger kids, and you are married, and you are running a business, and and your wife is ambitious and she has a career as well. So it's like, how is Ning able to do it and not like lose his shit
Oh
in the
man,
process?
you know what, man? It's tough. Like it's you have to prioritize certain things in your life, right? Um, and my priority is clearly family. If you anybody knows me, it's 1,000% my family,
Mhm.
and that means you don't take on certain gigs because you don't have childcare or you can't
Yep.
do things, or you're like, I have an important karate tournament that I don't want to miss, like, and that's okay with me because 30 years from now, I'm not going to be like, oh, I wish I shot that catheter conference in Costa Mesa. Like, no, they don't. Or you say, oh, I wished I went to my daughter's tournament where she won first place. Like, that's you got to prioritize. Once you prioritize those things, everything else should fall in place. The commodity that is the most valuable in our life is time. We can't make more time, but we can buy our time by like outsourcing, by doing things we don't love to do. Like simple things like not even work related, but like yard work or house cleaning your house or like simple things like that. Like even a CPA, like you do things, you pay people to do things where you can take that time back. Whether so like I can play T-ball with my son. I can go to go to piano recitals and stuff, and that's kind of like that's worth it to me. Um, it is a rough balance. Like if you knew me 10 years ago, I had black hair and you get stressed out. Um, but once you have a priority in place, that's what should stay that way. I mean, there's parents that want to prioritize work and that's perfectly fine. That's what they do. And they have to provide for their family and that's you know, that's their case and stuff. And some people don't want to be as active parents and that's fine too, but for me, family first, then comes everything else because but I do have to make money too, so business does come up pretty high in that list.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're being realistic here. You're not saying, oh, if it's we may starve this month, but I was there. It's like, obviously,
Yeah,
when it's time to work, when it's time to take a step back or whatever, and just kind of balance it off. And I think communication is key, especially when having a wife in the mix as well, because you want to balance, make sure they're still chasing their ambitions as well. They're not that your career
yeah,
isn't becoming, consuming her career as well. And I've
yeah,
had to like
exactly.
kind of go through that the hard way from time to time, and now I'm at a point where I tell my wife, it's your time. If you want to go back to school, if you want to get a PhD, if you want to start a new business, whatever you want to do, it's your time, because you sat through the eras of my life where the career was first, when I was in the military, when I was first starting out this photography company and trying to put it all together. Like, it was consuming me, but in a good and bad way. It was consuming me because I wanted it to be successful, but then there was those moments where it's like, man, was it even worth it? Was that worth it? Was missing? I totally understand from, was missing Saturday with the wife and kids
Yeah.
worth this wedding worth it? Was that wedding the game changer like I thought it was going to be, or was just another wedding? So, you start again making those priorities very clear and start saying to yourself, you know what? I'm not working on the holidays. I'm not working on these days. I'm only going to do 15 to 20 weddings a year. And if anything goes above that, you're going to pay a very high premium, because if I've got to give up that weekend with my wife and kids, we're going on vacation that next free weekend. Like that's kind of my attitude with it now versus
Yep.
before, the days when it was yes to every wedding. Proud to say you did 60 weddings in 1 year, and people were like, that's insane. When you were embracing the grind, thinking like that, be proud of this grind, and now you're like, man, I really overworked myself, and and it felt like it was going to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's a big balance and stuff, and I think you must be sidekick because my wife is actually getting her PhD.
My wife is too. That's why I said it's kind of.
There we go. See,
Yeah.
hey,
Yep.
our dream of marrying doctors are going to come true.
Exactly. she's in the master's program. That she's like, I'm probably gonna either get a second master's or get my PhD. I'm like, I put a doctor in front of the name.
Yeah, my wife has two masters as well. And then she's working her PhD. She's hopefully finishing up pretty soon. But you know what? She let me pursue this crazy dream, and my job is to help her and support her and help her.
And I'll be honest, I'm jealous with you being in California. Like, that was always like one of my dream spots. And I kid you not, I'm not even BSing you when I say Newport Beach is one of our vacation spots. Like when we lived in Arizona, we were going to Newport Beach every year. That place was it was magic, man. Like I'm jealous of that.
You come back again and hit me up and we'll hang out. We'll eat some mediocre barbecue out here. Korean barbecue is better.
Yes, Korean barbecue is the bomb, and then I can shit talk your Mexican food out there and be like, dude, this is y'all's Mexican food.
I got a Taco Bell down the street. There you go.
You sound like that. Sounds like what Lori was talking about. How he was like, "Hey, can we get Mexican food? Yeah, let's go to Taco Bell." And she just looked at Jeff like, "Is he serious right now?"
We got Del Taco. I don't know if that's any better. But...
Oh God. No, that's Chipotle. Do you got a Chipotle?
I do have Chipotle, actually. Pretty close. Yeah.
Nice. But it's funny. I remember when Mike would come out here to Texas and she's like, "Oh man, I love it." I'm like, "Dude, you live in California. How are you sitting there like thinking we got it good? Like you guys got the coast and all these amazing venues." It's like, come on, man. It's a photographer's dream.
The California light, right? It's like always like golden hour all the time.
Exactly. The only thing y'all don't have is clouds, so of course when someone's like, yeah, I shot this on the California coast, I'm like, yeah, you put the fake clouds in. How'd you know? I was like, because I've been to California enough times. Y'all do not have clouds like that.
Oh man.
Now in Texas, we have the cool clouds in Texas, which
it's crazy. We get occasional really awesome clouds and sunsets, and those happen to be the days where I'm not shooting a couple. I'm like, dude, this is the day that should have a couple, like an engagement session or a portrait with these epic clouds and color, and like, no. And then when you shoot a client, you're like, oh, here's the clear sky.
Blue skies, clear skies, blue. Like, okay, this is nice. So what's the on your journey? What's next for Ning these days?
You know what? What's next for me? I've been trying to build a corporate brand. So I've been doing so much corporate work for the past 7 years. I haven't had time to build up a proper corporate brand. I still do everything under Ning Wong Studios. So right now I'm in the process of doing that. That'll be announced pretty soon. I have my studio here in Santa Ana. I'm going to start doing more work over there, more headshots. I've been there for like 6 years now. But we do a lot of headshots there, but we never really properly marketed it. Just got so busy and everything, and things just kind of fall aside. Like when you prioritize other things, these things kind of fall behind and stuff like that. Kind of building out that brand more, growing that business out. We're getting really good traction on that side again, and continue doing this education thing. I've been thankful this year to do a lot of education stuff out there. Very, very thankful to be asked to speak for companies and to speak for Canon again. So if I can continue doing that, I'll be happy.
Nice. And let's talk about something. I was debating whether or not I wanted to bring this up. It was almost too. I know I said it was nothing controversial, but we got to talk about this movement that started almost 2 years ago. This Justice for Ning. What was that about? Tell us all about. I'm joking around. If anybody was paying attention to the Creator Series season 1, Um, the you were on what I like to call the season. It was the inaugural season, but it was also the
Yep.
season where everybody's like heart and soul was in their contestants. So everybody was like, "Oh, this is my guy. Or that's my girl. Or that's the person I want to. I'm going for." Ning had the hearts and minds of everybody. So when Ning got eliminated, it was just the most heartbreaking elimination. I think we saw people showing live reactions of them tearing up when you were gone. I'm like, yeah, and then of course I'm giving you crap, whatever. But okay, so season 1, let's talk about it, man.
All right, let's talk about it.
First off, how did that become a thing? Was that just us joking around to the point where it became an actual movement?
You know what, man? My friends, my homies, all my people that are support me. I think it started as a joke, maybe I don't know who started it out there, but someone's gonna get eliminated. I was the one that got eliminated for my episode and stuff, and it happens, right? And
Yeah.
it honestly, as I watched more of the episodes, the ones that came after me, I'm like, man, everybody's so good. Like anybody could have gone
Yeah.
home at any time, and my goal was not to be eliminated the first episode, and I passed that goal, so I was happy. And um, it was one of the most fun experiences. Like me and the creator series, like season 1, we have a chat that's still really active, and
Hmm.
a lot of us are really good friends and very, very close. And all it was because of that experience. And it's, unfortunately, I had to go home, but I honestly don't think I could have beaten anybody that was left because they're all super talented. I'm not trying to be PC about that. It's just the
No,
truth.
it
Yeah.
was very talented. I feel like I just remember going, man, like obviously, like when the season was announced, I look at the roster, I say, well, who are you going for? I said, well, I know Ning the most, so I'm going to go with my boy Ning.
Thanks,
And I
man.
remember like I was like every week cheering out, cheering, and then I remember the week you got eliminated, and again because you didn't, you guys can't tell us anything, so I'm like feeling good. I go, oh, just FYI, when we're doing the live watch or whatever, because I have a lot of photographer friends, we
Yeah.
would watch it live on the big TV and everything, right? And I type in, if Ning loses, we riot, whatever,
Yeah,
right? And
I
I hit
remember. I
enter,
saw that.
and it's the thing that it's the season or this episode you get eliminated, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta eat these words. So then I put up this fake video of us like trashing an office, and people really thought like, dude, you were really pissed off about Ning, I was like, dude, that wasn't a real video. That literally, if you look at it, it wasn't even me in that video. It was just a clip that I took from a GIF where they're trashing an office, like from Office Space or something.
Yeah.
And people really thought I threw a printer through the window because I was so mad.
Oh man. No,
I'm like,
man.
oh my.
I appreciate it. That's why I got love for you, Marvin, because you got my back, right? But
Yeah.
man, I almost didn't actually apply for Creator Series. The way it worked when the first season came out, you apply, you put your details into this form, and then
Mm-hmm.
they email you saying, "Hey, you're moved on to round 2 to do a 60-second video." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do it. They're not gonna pick me." And then I think it was due at a certain day, at midnight. And so my friends were messaging me at 9 p.m. They're like, "Hey, where's your video? I want to see it." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even do a video." They're like, "What? You didn't do one?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're not gonna pick me. Why would they want to pick me?" And so then my friends were like, "Just go do a video." So I literally went in my garage. I took a selfie stick and my iPhone, and I was like, "Hey guys, this is Ning," and did my 60-second video in my garage. And it's so messy, and I had bottles of whiskey in my background and stuff. And then I told Sal, "Hey, if you pick me, I'll bring you a bottle, right?" So maybe that's why he picked me, because I actually bought a bottle when I first saw him. Um,
Oh, if that's the case, I mean,
yeah.
I've been giving him free alcohol for no. I need to start getting some quid pro quo my alcohol
Well,
giving,
yeah,
you
a
know,
little bribery.
because Balvin is not cheap.
Yeah. Well, it didn't work because I didn't win. So he got me
There
on the
you
show,
go.
but not enough to win. So he was still an impartial, fair judge.
Absolutely. But so, I mean, with the experience from competing, I mean, because it was I never saw you in the competition space. So, what prompted you to really go for the compete competition wise? Was it just one of those things you went to see where you stood at against amongst the best amongst your peers, or?
It's a combination, right? So um, I don't really enter award shows. I don't do those things. I don't go to WPI, try and get merits and stuff. And the simple reason is because when I shoot for clients, I shoot for the client. I don't shoot with print comp in mind, even though print comp has some great photos. But my thing is all about the client experience, and that's what I shoot for. And I want my client to love what I do. So I don't I don't care to win awards. That wasn't so that wasn't the mindset. There are a couple of things like Sal starting this thing, and Sal and Alyssa have always supported me, always believed in me. So when they put it up, I have much love for those guys. So like when they put the thing up, I just fill it out just to like show them some love, right? And then they put me on the show and everything. And then of course when you get there, you're like, oh, I want to win because I'm naturally like to be competitive and stuff. But I was like, I wanted to win, but I don't want to win in a bad way. And none of us like, no one won in a bad way, at all. But like I said, behind the scenes stuff, like we were so supportive of each other, cheering each other on. Like, I remember my episodes, me and Bethany, and when Sal did our episode, like season 1, it was the best and the worst, and I immediately had already known that I was going to be the worst. Is there like fireworks behind me? So like,
Yeah,
um,
that's cool. I have no idea why that happened, but
I don't
that's
know
awesome.
either. Maybe I just moved, but like, I knew she'd beat me, and I was like, and then when I hugged her, I said, Bethany, congratulations, I'm gonna go home, and she's like, no, you're not. And then after the episode, after I was eliminated, we were just hanging out, and I was like, I was bummed, but hey, that's just how competitions work. And I told Bethany, I said, I hope you take it all the way, and I never met her before in my life, and like me and Bethany are really good friends. We were talking almost every day, on social media and chat and stuff like that, and help each other out all the time. Um, so I have a lot of love for creator series, to the cast members. I love seeing their careers, seeing where they're going and everything. And it's great. Like I really think, if they bring back season 3, you got to apply and just see what happens.
That's the plan, I'm not gonna say I'm apprehensive about it, but it's one of those things where I've said everybody out there I'm probably gonna apply. The biggest thing I question is the timeline. If it falls around the same time as my daughter's graduation from basic
Yeah.
training, so it's like again, you talk about like is it career defining? It can be. Is it a great career opportunity? Absolutely. But then it's like the work life balance. I'm not going to get a chance to see my daughter graduate from basic training and
Yeah.
and take on that generational legacy that our family is known for, where
Yep.
each generation there's somebody in each generation in the military.
Yeah.
She's the first one in her generation in her family that's going to be in the military. So to me that's important. But like I said, I'm gonna look at the timeline to see if it happens. If it happens, great. If not, hey, season 4. But I said my goal is to be the first man to ever win a season because it's been all women. So I want to make history.
Oh
That's the
man,
goal.
the girls
I
are
want to
good. I
do it
mean,
for the boys.
yeah. I mean, when we filmed mine, I actually missed my brother's 40th birthday celebration.
Yeah.
Because he had a whole weekend planned, and I called him and I asked him. I said, "Are you okay if I do this show?" He's like, he didn't care. He's like, "Yeah, go do it. This is like, it's just my birthday." Like, he had a big thing. I missed out on. I saw the social media, all the things they were texting me and stuff. And like, I was bummed I missed out, but he knew this is like a thing. I'm not saying you miss your daughter's thing because I think that's priority.
Oh no, no,
It's my
absolutely
brother's
not.
40th birthday, and I saw him the
Yeah.
following month. We did the same thing a
Yeah.
month later, but
Now, if it was the boys in the UFC fight or something like, hey man, UFC fight, now I'm gonna go do this crit. Now, if it's my
yeah,
daughter's like, dude,
just
like I said, I only
apply
got.
and see where it goes because
Yep.
they do have alternate like people. So if it doesn't work
Mhm.
out, they call alternate. They're gonna love you because they give the spot.
Oh yeah, somebody be like, oh, thank you. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Marvin. I'm like, yeah. So if you win, I could be like, I'm the reason you won.
Yeah,
I just
give
want
me
to be
some
that
of that.
person.
Give me one of those lenses.
Yeah, they gave you a free camera. Give me the camera, man.
Yeah,
I earned it.
yeah,
You wouldn't have the crib without me. He's like,
yeah,
it's so
exactly.
funny. Like I love how I always joke about. I said, I want to be that person that acts like he's such a rock star in this industry, but I could never take it seriously. Like to actually be that way. I always joke about it, like how these upper echelons, like when I first started out, like they were acting like rock stars. I go, I couldn't even act like that if I try, like legitimately try. Like I can't even keep a straight face. Like,
No,
and
man. I
it's
mean, you.
when I still see it today, I'm like, they still do that. Like, wow.
Nah, it's you know what? It's the rock star thing is lame. Like being a dude, we're photographers. Like we're not like life changing. We're not like doctors and like all these important
Yeah.
jobs, right? We're just like I said, we're people that click a button for a living and we edit and we just like, do these things and like you always been real, man. Like you since day one, like you've always been your personality's been great. So like They love seeing that. They want to see your personality. They don't want this like
Yeah,
pompous
personas.
person.
Yeah,
They want to see real life. They want that's what sells. Like why do you think reality TV is so popular? Because it's scripted real life, but it's their personality that
yeah.
sells it. You know?
That's like when I like now when I go to Shutterfest these days, or even the WPPIs, anytime I go to these work conferences, and especially Shutterfest, I always hear kind of the same thing now, which is you're a lot in real life like you are online. Like the way you act online, the happy go lucky, just nonchalant and everything. You're like that in real life, which is they go it's so refreshing. I'm like, well, I'm not gonna be fake online. And then you see me like this guy's because I see it clear as day when I see people that do that. They have the persona online, and then you see them in public, and they're like totally not that person, and you can tell it's a big act. For me, it's like again, I appreciate the meetups where we're smoking the cigars and we're talking shop and we're drinking the whiskeys. Like, I mean, I think that's as real as it gets. And, it's who we are. And I think, as when you're coming up, those are the moments where you learn the most. And that's when you really see it's one of those, like, I'm proud to say if I'm someone's hero, they get to meet their real hero. And I'm not some like,
Yeah.
damn, that was a waste of time. Like, I love that. And I love that people, get to follow us and, learn from us even in those moments too,
Yeah, I mean, networking happens at night, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
during the day, during trade shows, during classes. That's great. No, you make connections and stuff. But at night, when you go out and you meet people and you be part of the events, the social things at night, that's when you make real connections. That's when you see how people are. Like you're saying, like people are totally different online versus in person. Um, I like to mess around so much. I make these like stupid jokes all the time, and in Facebook groups and online and stuff like that. And um, that's how I am in real life. And like I think, like I said, we're lucky, man. We get to do this, and you know, to have this life, and why take it for granted, and why not have fun while you're doing it?
Absolutely. They say, it's a fun life. It's a great career. We're blessed to have it. And when it pays good.
Yeah, exactly. We're
you
like
know,
ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah, exactly. As and I always, this year was just really, really instrumental this year because I really got to see kind of like that both sides of that because I was really focused on business growth and networking and everything and like just getting connected with certain people. It was like, oh wow, and then people were like, well, hey, if you're friends with Ning, we know you're good people because we trust his judgment. And I was like, oh, appreciate it, and I was like, oh, I finally used, and I felt weird because I've never been the type to like utilize friendships to get a leg up almost or get connected to other people because of my friendships with someone. So it was something different that I had to get used to where it's like, oh, you're friends with someone? Yeah. Oh yeah, you can rock with us. I'm like, oh,
You know,
okay, cool.
you
Yeah.
know what? It's people that you've aligned with, like that have good ethics. They're
Mm-hmm.
respected. So like when you are aligned with those people and you're part of their groups, that's an automatic vouch for you, right? So like not saying me or anything, but like you're with Kaya Marie, you do a lot of stuff with her, and like people respect her, they love her. So they said, oh, I'm with Kaya Marie. They're like, oh, okay, we know she's awesome. So like you're automatically awesome because she trusts you and
Yes,
you like her, So like that's what you gotta keep doing. Like, you find the people who you want to be around, that you respect, and those are usually the good people who get respect from others and they get love. So um it's not using friendships, man. It's being you. It's being like you're Marvin Blue. You are a well respected, loved person in our community. And so like, it's not because you're my friend or other people's friend. It's because we want to be your friend, So don't think like that, man. Just think, you're just part of the crew.
absolutely. And I mean, speaking of friendship and everything, and I want to end this show. I really don't have any like, ending questions, but I
No
figured this
worries.
would be the best time to take the end of the show and let's crap talk Frank for a little bit, just because it's just fun, because I know he's gonna listen while he's probably running 70 miles on a bike while
I guess,
holding
yeah.
40-pound weights and everything and a kettlebell on his back or something. So he's probably gonna listen to this while he's in the gym. So Frank, if you're listening while you're doing, your 400-pound deadlifts, you know, I hope you poop yourself during your squat thrusters, bro.
Oh yeah, he just like sprays a little sweat on him, and then
Yeah,
like
no.
pushes his muscles up and takes a selfie and then leaves.
I mean, I always joke. I say, so tell me about your cycle. Are you doing DECA? Are you doing demo? Like I'm always messing with him about steroids and stuff. So
No,
Nah,
man,
Frank,
he just
that's
turned
like guy.
63. He looks like,
I know you got a
dude.
body of a 24-year-old man. This is
Yeah. Well, he's been a trainer, been fitness, been a
yeah.
bodybuilder. He's very successful in that industry, and like he's
Oh
63,
no, yeah,
man. Yeah,
he
he's a
works hard.
beast.
I give him credit. He motivates me like to every time I see him like shit. I got to work out. Thanks for making me feel like it's like every time I see his picture, it happens to be him doing a selfie with his shirt off, and I'm like eating a burrito or something, going fuck up. I feel like
I
shit now.
know.
Thanks, buddy.
I know, but the great thing is, you hit him up, he will help you out as much as he can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And he's working. Yeah, he works out at the during the conference. I see him at the gym. He's like, "There's no gym." Like it's so funny. Like the stuff we complain about is like the stuff that no one else is going to complain about, and it's the most first world problems that we laugh about later on or whatever. But it's like he was like, "The gym closed at 5 o'clock. This is BS." He's ready to like leave the hotel over it. I'm like laughing. I was like, "Man, just go before 5." He was like, "We have class. I wanted to go to class, but I need to get a pump in." And I'm laughing like, "Just all right, we'll run the stairs or something." I'm like, I'm messing with him. He's like, "Man, I need the gym. Where's the 24-hour fitness at?"
I know exactly. But yeah, he's dedicated, and
Yep,
obviously the results show. But
exactly.
you know,
62-year-old with a 22-year-old body.
63 now, 63.
60. That's right. That's right. He did just have a birthday.
Yeah,
Nice.
he's old. He's an old guy, man.
Hey, he's still shooting at a high level. I think that's what I say career wise. That's what I want for myself. Is just like at and I joke over like how many more years do you have before you like, man, I gotta hang it up or whatever. I say, I got 10, maybe 15. If I start taking care of myself a little bit better, I can make it to 55, 56 easily. We'll see what happens. But
Yeah, yeah. He does.
do
He
I
does
want to
like
shoot?
double, triple headers.
I
Still.
know. That's why I say, like, when I see that's like, well, that's motivating too, because like he's doing weddings. He's not just doing portraits. He's doing weddings, and he's
Yeah,
second shooting. He's holding
friends.
lights and running around. I'm just like, dude, again, that motivates the hell out of me.
Yeah.
So
I
we were
tell
supposed
you,
to talk
like,
crap about him.
yeah. Well, I mean, he's been with me for a while.
Yeah,
Like, he helps me, I help him, and like, I tell you, man, I was just talk crap, but he's one of the most hardworking dudes ever. Like, if I have,
I agree.
he will work his butt off to make sure things are done right, things are done correctly, and to your satisfaction, right? Um,
Yep.
it's hard to talk crap about him, about
I
that
know.
part.
Yeah.
Work ethic,
Yeah.
you
No.
can't talk crap, but other
You
things you
can't.
can
Yeah.
talk crap on.
Yeah, like flat, like putting his trigger on the other person's trigger and messing with them. That was
Oh
the
man,
funniest ever. I said, dude, how bad was the back blow? Because it was funny,
laugh.
and then he got so much back blow from him. He was like, I felt bad. He was like, I gotta find the pre reach out to them. I was like, man, you should give them like a 1 hour minute. Like I gave him like this whole like riot act that I wrote to him as a joke or whatever. I said, man, look, just apologize, tell them you will mentor them, you will help them out, you will carry their bags, you will make it right for them.
You know
I
what?
said, what if they were a newbie?
I know, but at the same time, it's like
It was hilarious
I
though.
see that. I've done that in the past when we're at meetups. We just start triggering random channels and stuff, and it happens.
Yeah, that's why you want to use Westcott because no one else is using Westcott.
There's a reason
Yeah.
why. Just kidding. No, Westcott's good. Westcott's good,
Nah,
but
I'm trying to get sponsored, bro. Like I'm trying to get lowest barrier of entry. Who's not using what right now?
Oh no, Westcotts are fantastic, Marvin. I think you'd be an amazing ambassador for Westcott because you have the
Man,
platform and the knowledge.
yeah. Light is light is light. I don't care. It's like whatever I can afford. Like I currently am using Westcott. Like but I didn't buy them because I'm trying to get sponsors. Bought them because it was on sale and it was like I needed new lights. And when you break enough equipment, you got to replace it. And you get that check to replace your equipment. It's like, okay, well, I knew I wasn't doing pro photo because that's just too expensive. So
Yeah, I mean it's the tool you have, right? Like it's
yep.
like in the past, I shot a wedding on iPhone and like by the client's request and for a video, and like it's a tool you have, and like I'm proud of that video. It's not as sharp as the, the Canon R5 R5C, but it's the storytelling, right? It's how you use
Oh
it,
yeah.
how you use light. So no matter what
Speaking of when you start out, I never even asked this. So when you first picked up the camera and said, I want to try to make this money with it and have a career, what were you using? I know it was Canon. So what was what you have in your
XTI,
hands?
my
Wow.
wife back then, fiance, bought me a Canon XTI kit from Costco, like that box
Mm-hmm.
with the lenses and all the stuff, and that was my first camera, and I think I sold it. I don't know where it is, but
How long did you have it before somebody told you, hey man, that's not a pro level camera?
oh well, so when I first started, it wasn't. I wasn't using that
Who was the
professionally.
snob? Yeah, who was the snob that came up to you and was like, "You need a better camera, bro"?
Uh, you know what? I think it was myself.
Really?
Yeah, because like the XTI, I was shooting the XTI as a hobby camera. I wasn't
Mhm.
even doing full time with that. It was just I was straight just doing hobby stuff, and then I ended up buying a Canon 40D, right? And so like, so don't judge me before I started my career. I was working corporate, and then I was shooting nightclubs. I was one of those nightclub photographers.
Oh man,
So I had a 40D with a 1855, you know,
kid.
EFS lens, and like I learned off. That's where I learned a lot of off camera lighting is because of shooting nightclubs and stuff. And then when I started getting serious, I thought, you know what, I need to buy a big boy camera, and that was a 5D Mark II back in the day,
Mm.
right? So that's when I have that. I still have that in my in my closet and stuff. But you know, ever since then, it's always been Canon each time.
Just consistently upgrading as time went on.
Yeah, you have so much gear, right?
Yeah, I just like I said, I remember when I first started out, went into Best Buy, saw that Nikon on
Oh
sale.
yeah,
I said, which one's a good one? He goes, oh, this is a good one. Like, and we were looking at different ones. He goes, hey, actually, this one's on sale right now, man. I was like, oh, okay. He goes, oh, and it comes with 2 lenses. I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm like detaching it, like, and I'm trying to look like I know what I'm doing. Or I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go with this one. And then
yeah.
the first time I went to like a camera store and I was around a photographers, they just looking at me like, who's this guy? Like, which lens? Which they go, oh yeah, you got all kit stuff. And I'm like, yeah, is that bad? They're like, oh, you're new. I'm like, yeah, is that a problem? Like, oh yeah, your gear, it's a little on the lower side things. I was like, okay, well, how do I get better with it? And like you need to start, and then here goes with the pompous guy comes in, you need to buy better gear if you want it. He goes, if I was a client and I saw your gear, I wouldn't hire you. I'm like, okay, well, cool, good to know. No, never market to you. Let me see what else happens. But then it's like I still shot weddings with that Nikon D5000. So, I built it off of a crop sensor camera and,
Yep.
I hadn't looked back since, and I think I shot every brand over time because, as time evolved and I switched over to Canon when I first went full frame because the guy that I was second shooting for, he's like, hey, man, I got this, Mark II sitting here collecting dust because I got a bunch of Mark IIIs now. I was like, you want it? I was like, sure, and
Yeah.
got that and was doing the Canon 5D Mark II with a 50 millimeter 1.8 for the longest. And then I was just buying
50-50,
lenses with,
yeah.
man, I was shooting entire weddings with 50. I was like, I remember I'd run back as far as I can to get that wide angle shot with the entire wedding party. I'm like, hold on, let me back up some more. I'm like, please have enough room. Please have enough room. I'm like, okay, whew, I got enough room to get everybody in the shot.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it sucks. It sucks that like you had people to deal with like in the beginning, and there's those photographers who think gear is everything, and gear is good to a certain point, but it's learning to use the gear properly and like
absolutely.
it's like some stuff is more consumer hobbyist,
Mhm.
and some stuff is more professional. But you should never knock the beginners because we all
Yeah, I
start from
mean,
somewhere.
and like I say, it was the classic. You got to start somewhere. Gear is gear. It's what you do with it that counts. Because I've seen newbies come in at a conference, pull out a credit card, and buy cameras that are way more expensive. I've seen, someone come in and buy the 1D before, and I'm just like, they're like, yeah, I'm finally buying my first professional camera. I'm like, well, damn, you went to the real deep end, like.
Yeah,
You don't got to buy that one. If you want, you can buy this one, save you a couple grand. Like, nope, no. If I buy this camera, I know I'm all in because I can't go backwards. I'm like, yeah, I guess you're right. I was
yeah.
like, whew.
Whatever motivates you.
And I'm over there like my gut just hurt. Like, oh my gosh, she's about to drop 10K. Like, you sure you don't want to buy this one? Save you some money. Nah. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's about what you do with it. It's about, what you're gonna, how you're gonna grow, what method you're gonna do to grow and get better. And, ultimately what your journey is gonna be. Everybody's journey is different. So I mean, what advice would you have for, someone new coming in, whether they're year 1, year 2, year 3, like those first 3 years where it's really pivotal in their career? What advice do you have for them now as they grow?
So, for someone coming in, being new, you know, investing into proper workshops, into conferences, going in like is gonna learning is gonna change your business, right? I'm not talking about just talking about learning how to shoot or how to do like off camera lighting or anything, but learning the business side of things, right? Like how to properly run a business, how to market yourself, how to do those things effectively. Because I've seen photographers who aren't the greatest photographers, they admit it, but their businesses are set up really nicely. So they make a lot of good money. And I've seen photographers who are really talented, but they don't know how to run the business, so they don't know how to make money, right? So like end of the day, we're trying to make money. So if you can balance out both, that'd be great. But if you're beginning, go to conferences, go to workshops, learn. There's YouTube is out there. It's
Mhm.
free. There's so much amazing content you can do. Um, Not sponsored at all, but SLR Lounge, they have amazing content we can learn from. And I truly believe that's one of the best learning platforms out there. Subscribe to, um, their classes and their, subscription stuff. Like I said, I'm not sponsored. I don't get paid by those guys at all.
Oh no, I
You
know
know,
who they are. I
yeah,
have a subscription as well. I was a fan of Pi during the Creative Live days. That's how
yep,
old in this industry I am.
exactly. But like
Most of my
that's
OG
you gotta
instructors were
learn.
from
Like,
Creative Live. Yeah.
yeah, you learn, and like if you like back when I first started, we would actually like sorry Creative Live, but we would like a bunch of us would buy a course. We all sit in like in my living
And
room.
share it.
We sit in my living room. We all watch it together, right? Like we're like we
Yep.
couldn't afford to buy these courses separately, so we'd buy one course and we'd come down to my house downstairs and like we all so like 8 of us to sit there watching it and like okay like pee break and then we go get lunch, come back, watch the rest. Of like but we're learning, right? So the
Yep.
whole point of it is you gotta take take advantage of those things and like how you say go to conferences and it's crazy, it's intimidating. Like there's so many conferences out there, like WPI, imaging, Shutterfest. Um, you know,
Even the smaller ones, like you have your Rise Syncs,
yeah, Texas
any
schools, not small,
local
yeah,
PPA, yeah,
local,
local PPA
yeah,
groups, yeah, like all of them. So I always say, just become a student has always been
yep,
my thing. A student in business and a student in photography. But I agree with you where
yeah,
learning to run a business, I've learned the hard way that was the harder part because you'll pick up stuff as a photographer really fast, but man, when you're dealing with clients and you're learning how to do invoicing and everything, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Again, we evolved from getting paper checks written to us to now we're getting people tapping our cell phones and paying us thousands of dollars. So,
yeah.
you know,
It's like making a network of like-minded people that are motivated,
absolutely.
right? Like if you have, when I first started, I had my little newbie group of friends, and we would almost every day hang out. This is all pre-kid days, right? So like hang out and shoot and learn and do something together, and that's how you learn. Is you learn with people. And we have issues. We say, hey, hey guys, I have this issue. What do you guys think? How do I solve it? Right? So take advantage of all the content and all the learning you can do right now, um, and just click that camera. Like keep pressing that button and practicing and learning and shooting and getting out there and um, hopefully they'll get some traction for you.
Nice, nice. Well, Ning, hey, look, man, we're hitting that 1 hour mark. I told you I didn't want to keep
Oh
you too
man,
long, and I appreciate your time. You're
I
always so giving,
appreciate you,
man. I
man.
appreciate you getting on the show finally. Now I've got
Finally,
legitimacy. I got Ning Wong on the show, man. Like, holy crap,
I know.
this is a real podcast.
Justice for Nings. I wasn't on Marvin's
Just
podcast until now, so
yes. So now, yes, the minions of Ning's minions, please don't attack me. I don't want any more private messages about why Ning hasn't been on the show. It has nothing to do with my any hatred. We don't have any beef. There is no beef. We've settled the scores. I'm chasing him. Everyone, okay? He's got the career that I want.
the only beef we have is barbecue. That's it.
Exactly. Which one we like the most and who's got the best barbecue, and then our love for cigars and our love for whiskey and our
Nah,
love
man.
for our kids most of all.
Oh man,
Our wife and our
close with
kids.
you.
Yeah, let's
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
let me say it right. We're getting too close to
Our
Mother's Day.
family.
To our wife and our kids
We don't
who
get
allow us to have these crazy, awesome careers.
nah, but
That's
thank
what it's
you,
all
man.
about.
Like it's I was looking so forward to today being on your podcast. I know you asked me a few times, my schedule's never synced out and stuff like that. Um, I have so much love for you, Marvin, and so much what you
Appreciate
do,
it.
so much respect. Just so excited to see what happens. And like, people are like, "Oh, you're Marvin's homie." Like, you're cool in my book, So like, um, anytime you want me to be on here, I will wear my suit with my basketball shorts,
There you go.
And
Same thing. There you go. I won't stand.
I know. Make sure you
I'm not.
press and record before I stand up. But like, but
Nice.
much love,
I
man. I appreciate it.
appreciate you, man.
All right.
That's it for this week's show. Again, thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, and share with others. Leave those reviews and check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Until then, see you next week.